Om Agyan Timirandhasya Gyan Anjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Hare Krishna. Today is the concluding lecture on Bhishma Stuti. Till now we have discussed 11 shlokas of Bhishma Dev glorifying Lord Shri Krishna, and there were numerous teachings within those shlokas. In this particular lecture, we are going to summarize all those teachings. In fact, there are infinite dimensions to those teachings, and even if we apply a few aspects, a few points of those teachings in our life, then the very purpose of this glorification is solved. So let us begin. So first of all, Bhishma Dev is, in the very first shloka, he is giving us the very first teaching of being a simple devotee, or in other words, a humble devotee. Now, who is a humble devotee? Bhishma Pitama himself is a Mahajana, a teacher in the cult of devotional service. And he is not considering himself a devotee while he is glorifying Lord Shri Krishna through Arjuna, through gopis. So the very first teaching is being a simple devotee, or in other terms, if we take an example, like we are soldiers against Maya. So even otherwise, if we consider a position of a soldier, how will a soldier be feel humbled? A soldier is otherwise very brave, but when, in what position he will be right down at his knees praying? Yes, we are fighting against Maya, but we need to bend down at our knees when we will feel defeated against Maya. Even after chanting for so many years, even after reading all the literature, even after understanding all the literature, when we will not be able to chant, we will not be able to concentrate our mind on Krishna, on His holy name, then a cry will appear from within our heart. And Srila Prabhupada verily, rightly said so, that we have to chant in the mood of like a crying child who cries for his mother. Yes, that is the humbled position of a devotee. And Bhishma Pitama is calling himself an atatai, an aggressor. He's a teacher himself, but he is not considering himself a devotee. He is teaching us that we have to be at such a position. We do not have to feel ourselves very exalted that we are doing devotion in this age of Kali. No, we have to feel ourselves humbled. This is the very foundation of devotional service. And then our actual, real, pure devotional service will begin. So this is the very first teaching. And then Bhishma Pitama gives us the second teaching, that in devotion one needs to surrender, or Sharanagati. And what does he mean by Sharanagati? He exemplifies by his own life. In fact, by his life as well as at the moment of his death. Throughout his life, he was a devotee of Lord Shri Krishna. And that's why he, at the time of this Mahabharata war, the war of the millennium, that time he is able to focus his attention on Lord Shri Krishna. He was able to glorify him in the middle of the battlefield. So that time, so even when Lord Shri Krishna himself was rushing to kill him, that time he is able to glorify Lord Shri Krishna. This was all because he practiced devotion throughout his life. So that is the kind, that this is apratihata, uninterrupted devotional service in life as well as at the time of his death. Bhishma Pitama, when lying on the deathbed of arrows, it is mentioned in Mahabharata that he was in such a painful condition that there was not even a gap of 2 fingers between 2 arrows, and he was getting unconscious every few seconds. In that severe state of agony, he is able to glorify Lord Shri Krishna. So he is exemplifying by his own life as well as the time of his death that yes, apratihata, that devotion has to be continued uninterruptedly, without any interruption. Whatever obstacles come at our path, it doesn't matter for a devotee because his relation is with God. And whatever problems, whatever obstacles we are facing is on this material body. The consciousness is not affected of a devotee. So Bhishma Pitama is depicting this. And that time he is not blaming God. Although he is in a severe painful state, he is not blaming God. So this is the next message which Bhishma Pitama is giving us. Yes, devotion demands sacrifice. And it was actually peak in the case of Bhishma Dev when Lord Shri Krishna demanded his life actually. But Bhishma Pitama did not leave his devotion to Lord Shri Krishna. This is devotion. So Bhishma Pitama is showing how to die also. That glorifying, whatever state we are in, we have to keep on glorifying Lord Shri Krishna. So this is how one has to leave his life years at the time of his death. So next, Bhishma Dev is giving us the teaching that this is devotion is done without any motives. Ahetuki. That means Bhishma Pitama was not after any fruitive action, the fruitive action of karmis. He was not after the liberation of the jnanis. He was not after the mystic yoga of the mystic powers of the yogis. These were all shadows. A devotee is not after these material benefits. A devotee is after the real substance. What is that substance? That substance is his relationship with God. That Bhishma Dev is focusing upon. That Bhishma Dev is trying to teach us that we have to leave all our desires, anvadya, the shadow. We have to leave the shadows, all the so-called attractions of this material world to receive the real blessings of Lord, as in the case of Bhishma Dev. This is the way to please Lord. So, ahetuki apratihata. And that's why a devotee has Bhishma Pitama tells us that a devotee has a specific relationship with Lord Shri Krishna. As in the case of Bhishma Dev was in Dasya Bhakti Ras and specially chivalrous Bhakti Ras as a military man in the field of battle. And that's why Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada writes that Lord was enjoying the wounds created by Bhishma Dev, because this fight was transcendental fight, and the exchanges were between Lord and his pure devotee. So a devotee can please the Lord even in the garb of an enemy. Why? Because Lord accepts his service being done in the state of pure love and affection. So this Bhishma Dev is again telling us that one need not enter the state of conjugal affairs, or one need not jump into the state of conjugal affairs of between Radha and Krishna. One has to practice Vaidhi Bhakti, or the stage of practice, following rules and regulations for at least 10 years before embarking on the platform, on the transcendental realm of Raganuga Bhakti. We have to practice, we have to purify ourselves first before entering that stage, before experiencing any kind of bliss. In fact, that is the specific relationships with God is beyond the level of liberation. One stops getting attracted to this material world, then only one gets his Swarup revealed. What Swarup, what relationship, what specific relationship he has with the Lord. But at least we can have a relationship of servitude with the Lord. Lord is my master and I am his servant, and I have to please him. So Bhishma Dev is by this chivalrous Bhakti Ras, Bhishma Dev also wanted to exhibit the Bhakta Vatsal feature of the Lord. That yes, a Lord is ready to break his own vow for his devotee. And that's why Bhishma Dev is focusing on the Parthasarthi form of the Lord. In the Parthasarthi form of the Lord, there is Lord, there is Lord, and the Lord, he is acting as a server, as a carrier order of his devotee Arjuna. So there is Lord, there is Arjuna, there is relationship between Lord and Arjuna, and simultaneously Lord is also satisfying Bhishma Dev by focusing his attention on Bhishma Dev. So Lord, devotee, as well as the dealings, the transcendental dealings between the Lord and the devotee, this makes a perfect picture. And that's why Bhishma Dev is focusing his attention on the Parthasarthi form of the Lord, exhibiting the Prem Madhurya. In fact, Mahabharata also has this incident of Bhishma Dev leaving his body. But there, Bhishma Dev is instructing Yudhishthir about dharma, about niti. But here specifically in Bhagavatam, in this glorification, the Prem Madhuri, the Bhakt Vatsal feature of the Lord has been exhibited. So this a devotee has relishes for actually. The Lord controlling the life of a devotee, like the reins, like the Lord holding the reins of the horses in his hand. The Lord controls the life of his devotee. This is the perfection of devotion. And thus, Bhishma Dev wants to tell us that a devotee yearns for the sweet dealings between the Lord and himself. He yearns for that. He is not satisfied with just his darshan. And in the battle of Kurukshetra, everyone saw Lord, but they were not able to appreciate him because there was no relationship with him, because they were not in an attitude of serving him. So a devotee yearns for sweet dealings with the Lord. And finally, if we consider all this, it might seem to us that Bhishma Dev is glorifying Lord Shri Krishna and he is feeling the bliss, he is enjoying. But we are not at this level. We are at the platform of material, this existence. We are at the level of body. So how can we have such feelings? So Bhishma Dev actually is not thinking about himself actually. Srila Prabhupada writes, he is a constant associate of the Lord. He need not glorify Lord Shri Krishna every time. Lord Shri Krishna knows him that he is my eternal associate. Bhishma Dev knows him that he is my eternal Lord. All this glorification was meant for us, conditioned souls, so that we appreciate the dealings between the Lord and his devotees. And we perfect our lives. Even if we try to emulate some of these, we try to follow some of these teachings which Bhishma Dev wants to give us. He is actually thinking about the benefit of all. This is the sense of devotion. The devotion is done for others. Devotion, that's why Bhishma Dev is a Mahajana. Devotion is not done for ourselves. The very first point, humble. A devotee is humble because he is not doing devotion for himself. He is doing devotion for the benefit of others, so that they get out of the trap of this material world. Srila Prabhupada verily thus writes beautifully in Srimad Bhagavatam, in his commentary, that thus a devotee, understanding his position and understanding the risk in this material world, is leaves no stone upturned to preach. So this is the onus upon us, we being in the process of devotional service, bhakti yoga. The onus is on us to try to apply these principles in our life, as well as to preach the same message to others, so that we try to make some difference in the life of people. Thus, we should read this glorification again and again. We should try to remember these shlokas, and we have to first of all purify ourselves, and then simultaneously we have to preach, because preaching is also a method of purification for us only. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.